Welcome to Joyful Jen Yoga. Today is a practice that's going to be a little twisty and a little bit spirally. We're going to play with some eagle pose and drawing inward. It's all about drawing inward. We'll begin on our backs today, crossing your right thigh over your left, and then allowing your arms to open out wide and letting your knees move over to the left. You can gaze over your right arm if you'd like and just notice how that twist feels in your body. Observe how your body breathes in a twist and then gently begin to pull yourself back to center. Cross the left thigh over right and let your knees knock over to the right. You can gaze over the left shoulder if that feels good. Breathing fully, exploring that twist. Noticing how your body is showing up. And then gently unwrap your legs. Bring yourself back to center. Press your hands up to the sky like you're trying to do plank on the ceiling. And then begin to bend your elbows like chaturanga. Pull your thighs in towards your chest and see if you can take your knees to your triceps. Bring your big toes together for crow on your back. You can start to lift your shoulder blades up off the ground if you'd like as well. Feel free to keep your head and shoulders down though if that feels better. Activate through your belly. Allow another deep breath here and then gently relax your feet and your arms down to your sides. Begin to pull your legs up toward the sky and wrap your right thigh over your left. Perhaps the right toes wrap behind the left calf, but don't worry if they don't. We'll take our arms out to the side and wrap the left elbow over the right, coming into a full eagle bind or allowing your hands to come to shoulders. We'll start to let our legs move over toward the left and our arms move over to the right side. So we're like a little twisted pretzel eagle on our mat right now. And notice how your breath feels in this twisted eagle. And then slowly come back towards center. Unwrap your arms, unwrap your legs, and give it a little shake like a little tantrum. Cross the left thigh over the right. Left toes might wrap behind the right calf. Don't worry if they don't. Switching the eagle arms, right elbow over left. Working your knees to the right side this time and your arms to the left. Observing what that shows up like. Allow another deep breath and then slowly start to unwind. And then begin to bring your arms up like plank again against the ceiling. Bend the elbows. Draw your thighs together. Round your upper body off of the ground. And begin to draw your elbows to the outside of the right thigh. Come back up through center on your next breath in. And then switch. Elbows come to the outside of the left thigh. So it feels like you're doing side crow, but on your back. And we'll switch side to side. Inhale brings us to center. Exhale over to the side. Start to notice your obliques. Feel your center. Feel the strength through your hip flexors. And then work your way through one more on each side. And then make your way back to center. Offer your body a big hug. And then start to rock and roll forward and back on your spine so long as that feels safe. Engage your core as you play here. And then see if you can gather a little bit more momentum and stand all the way tall. And don't worry if you don't stand all the way up in the first go of it. Feel free to use your hands to get up there. And we'll come to the top of our mat. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine, pull shoulder blades on your back. Exhale, fold it in and step your left foot back behind you. Feel free to adjust your feet, take up plenty of space on the mat. You might have your hands on blocks here. Energize through that left hamstring and then start to straighten out your right leg. You might pull your right toes towards your shin, intensifying the stretch in the back of your right leg. Rebend into that right knee and then reach your right arm up to the sky, twisting toward that right thigh, opening up through your heart space, creating a little squeeze of your shoulder blades. And then place your hands on either side of that right foot. Step on back to high plank. Hold for a moment here, breathing. Let your knees lower to the ground, lower in one long line of energy to the earth. Untuck your toes, slide your elbows underneath your shoulders, coming into a sphinx pose. Pull your heart forward. Again, draw shoulder blades down your back. Take another deep breath and then slide your hands in line with your chest. Lift up through a strong all fours and shift your hips to your heels in child's pose. Begin to press into your hands, tuck your toes, work your way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathing here, rooting through your hands and your feet. Reach your left leg up and back. Step that foot in between your hands. Work hands back onto blocks. Energize through that right hamstring, feeling the opening through the front of the hip. And then slowly begin to straighten out through that left leg. You might even play with lifting the toes off the ground, increasing the stretch in the back of the leg all the way down through the calf. Rebending into your left knee, reaching your left arm up to the sky, squeezing shoulder blades down your back, opening through your heart. Letting the left hand drop down, taking a big step forward to the top of your space. Inhale, lengthen spine, and then exhale, soften in. Bending into your knees, inhale, reach arms all the way up overhead. Hands come to heart. We'll make our way into a chair pose, so walk your feet about hips width distance apart, and then start to root into your heels, maybe lifting your toes up off the ground. Feel weight go back into your heels, engage your glutes. Draw your belly button down so that you can feel that sensation of tapping the brakes in your core, that drawing inward. Ribs down, below the belly button up, everything meeting right around your navel, feeling your own powerhouse. Inhale, lift all the way up, little baby back bend, and exhale, hands down to heart center. Inhale, stretch arms all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step your right foot back behind you. Lower right knee to the ground. Inhale, arms sweep up into your low lunge on Vinyasa, feeling connection to your core. Take a big breath in here, and then exhale, hands touch down. Step straight back into your high plank, stacking shoulders over wrists. Come forward onto your tiptoes, lower chaturanga all the way down to your belly. Inhale, heart draws forward into a cobra or maybe up dog. Engage through your center as you transition back to downward facing dog. Breathing in your down dog. Right leg reaches up and back. Step the right foot lightly between your hands, lowering left knee. Inhale, arms sweep on up, finding Anjaneyasana on the other side. Lifting from below your navel. Inhaling here. Exhale, hands touch the earth. Look forward, step forward. Inhale, lengthen spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach all the way up overhead, and hands return to heart center. Coming back into your chair pose, your feet can widen here, even wider than hips. Send your bum back again, ribs down, below the belly button lifts. Really connecting, feeling your posterior chain, feeling your glutes active. Really think about spreading your sits bones here. If you're not sure if your glutes are active, that can help you to engage the proper muscles. Breathing deeply, feeling sensation maybe you haven't felt before. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands return to heart center. Take a big step out with your right foot and we'll work our way into goddess pose. So start to wiggle a little bit, taking your toes out, heels in until you find that just right space. Start to feel your inner thighs active, but remember that your toes can turn slightly forward so that you feel balanced here. And then as you're ready, bring your arms out like a goddess. Take an inhale. And then on exhale, start to tap your right elbow towards your right knee. Inhale, come back to center. Left elbow taps to left knee. Inhale, center. Right elbow, right knee. Inhale, center. Exhale, left elbow, left knee. Inhale, back. Exhale, tap. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, stretch all the way up. Reach your arms up. Point your toes toward the long side of the mat. Release your wrists. Bringing hands to heart. Take a big step to the top of your space. And then inhale, reach your arms all the way back up overhead and fold forward. Lengthen your spine. Step back with your left foot. Come into that low lunge again. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, arms come out like a cactus. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Inhale here. Exhale, gently twist to the right, so towards your right thigh. And then when you feel ready, gently unwind. Looking forward and then sweeping both arms back up overhead. Letting your hands touch down and then come into all fours. From here, you can take a block right in between your hands as you let your elbows draw down to the ground. So you're making like a little L with your thumb and index finger around the block, just to give yourself a little boundary here. And then with your elbows underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes and start to walk your feet in, coming into a dolphin shape. You want to think about really squeezing your elbows and forearms in toward midline. That's what the block helps you to do. Watch that you're not dropping your shoulders toward the earth. Really keep pressing up and away, actively drawing your ribs up towards your belly button. Lowering back down, letting your knees touch, coming into a child's pose. Let your arms rest back behind you. Breathing here, let your body soften a little bit, finding that repose. And then as you feel ready, walk your hands forward, come back to all fours, tuck your toes underneath, and then start to sit back on your heels and consider lifting your knees off the ground, playing with coming into a toe stand. Noticing how balance feels here, you can really think about squeezing things in toward midline there, and play with maybe straightening your legs and coming back in a few times. Notice how this feels in your feet. If it works to stretch your arms up overhead, go for it. Reach your left arm forward, right arm back, coming into a twist here. Know that it's fine to touch down to the ground for balance. Come back to center. Let your hands land. Walk yourself back into downward facing dog. Reaching your right leg up and back. Take an inhale, and then on exhale, start to draw your right knee across to your left elbow. Inhale, stretch up and back. Exhale again across your body, tap towards your left elbow. One more time, reach it up. Exhale, tap. Inhale, stretch on up. Exhale, step the foot in between your hands. Inhale, lifting up into a strong crescent lunge. Take a breath in. Exhale, hands to heart. Lift your chest and then work your left elbow lightly over your right thigh, coming into a twisted crescent. And from here, start to look down, activate through your inner thighs. Step that left foot to meet the right, coming into a twisted chair pose. Feeling your glutes even here. Inhale, arms stretch all the way up overhead and hands come to heart. Take a big step out. with your right leg, and then start to settle into goddess pose, turning your toes out, pulling your heels in, ribs draw down, and pelvis stays neutral. Try not to tuck your tailbone so that your back body does what it needs to do to balance here. Open your arms up like a cactus. Pull your elbows back on inhale, and then exhale, hug your forearms into center. Inhale to open, exhale to draw in. Inhale, find spaciousness. Exhale, draw together. Inhale, stretch on up, straighten your legs, reach arms up, hands to heart. Look forward, big step to the top of your space. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, find length. And then you might place your hands on blocks, or as you step your right foot back, inhale, lift your arms up. Find a low lunge, Vinyasa, maybe a little lift up through your heart. Find those cactus arms again, and then gently twist to the left. Notice how the twist comes from your core, from your center, instead of forcing it with your arms in any way. Inhale back to center, arms stretch up. And then hands touch down. We'll come into all fours. Work your hands around a block if you'd like as a little boundary, or not. You could take your hands together, press them in prayer, and we'll work our elbows right underneath shoulders. Tuck toes and then tiptoe your feet a little bit closer in towards your elbows, coming into a dolphin shape. Breathing here. Keep pressing your shoulders up away from the earth. Notice if you start to fatigue in the shoulders. Try to stay connected to your core. Take another breath and then allow your knees to soften down. Shift hips down to heels and rest in child's pose. Maybe taking your hands underneath your forehead or whatever feels comfortable here, and just connect back to your breath. Notice how you feel. Coming back up through all fours, tuck your toes and sit back on your heels for a moment. Lift your heels off the ground, coming into a toe squat. Reaching arms all the way up, and then reaching right arm forward, left arm back, finding your balance and noticing if it's a little tricky to balance there. Inhale, arms stretch back up overhead, and then gently walk yourself back into your downward facing dog. Reaching your left leg up and back behind you. Take your left knee across your body. Tap your right elbow. Inhale, stretch all the way back up. Again, across your body, tap your right elbow. Inhale, stretch up. Tap across your body. Inhale, reach up. And lightly step your foot in between your hands. Stay on the ball of your right foot and inhale up into your crescent lunge. Bringing hands to prayer, take an inhale, find length, and then work your right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. Keep energizing up through your right hamstring. Try not to collapse into your left thigh, really active through your core. Look forward, step your right foot to meet your left, coming into your twisted chair. Taking another breath here, and then inhale, reaching all the way up, stretching tall. And then we'll start to find some balance here. So begin to root down into your left leg, into your left foot, and then hug your right knee into your chest. See if you can squeeze the right thigh up tall without sinking into your left hip. We'll keep our left hand on our right knee and start to reach right arm back behind us. Watch that you're not sinking into that left hip. Keep lifting up away from the earth. If you're feeling it, you might look over your right thumb for a little extra challenge. And then come back through center, give the knee a hug, and shake it out. Like really, really release. Really give it a good shake. And then root down into your right foot. Hug the left knee into your chest. And same thing here. Watch the tendency to sink into your standing leg. Really think about lifting up away from the earth. Reaching the left arm back, and then practicing what feels right with your drishti or your gaze, maybe looking back behind you, just finding a stable spot to look. And then looking forward, give that knee a big hug and release. Shake it all out again. Give it a good wiggle. Coming back to the top of the mat, inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale for length. Exhale, touch down, step back to high plank. Lower all the way down to the ground, and then take your elbows, placing them underneath your shoulders. Start to tuck your toes. You can start by keeping your knees on the ground, lifting belly and hips, or lift your knees off the ground as well, coming into a forearm plank. Breathing here, and then start to tiptoe your toes back into dolphin. Walk back into your plank, forward into dolphin, and back into plank. Finding that strength through your center and core, finding stability in your shoulders. This is not an easy feat, but keep with it if you can. Take another breath and then lower back into your child's pose. Let that go. That was a lot of effort. Notice your breath after really engaging your core here. And we'll press into our hands, tuck toes, lift all the way up and back to downward facing dog. Look forward, step or float to the top of your space, find length, and then fold it in. Inhale, arms reach on up. Exhale, hands to heart. We'll start to play with balance again. So really start to root down through your feet, and we'll play with that whole idea of hugging everything into midline. So start to root down into your right foot. Come onto your left big toe and just kind of bend into your knees. Get buoyant here. Maybe you lift up the left knee and see if you can still kind of get that buoyancy. We'll cross the left thigh over the right again, hugging everything in toward midline. Really squeeze those thighs together. The left foot could wrap behind the right calf. That's so not important. Don't worry about it. Arms come out. And then if you can, wrap your right elbow on top of your left, hands to shoulders, or find that full eagle bind with your arms. Again, whatever makes sense to your body. Wherever you are, squeeze everything in toward midline. Maybe elbows drop down towards your thighs. Again, not necessary, but somewhere to play. Notice if it's easy to balance or a challenge, and then unwind, shake it on out, release. And then let's play with the other side. So start to root into your left foot, get buoyant again, bending into your knees, thinking about lifting that right thigh up, wrapping it over the left, playing with maybe wrapping the right toes behind the calf, or tap your right toes down for a little kickstand of balance. Left arm wraps over right, finding hands to shoulders or that full eagle bind. Again, think everything draws in toward midline. Really work the center here. Elbows could tap down to the knees, but again, not important. Balance might be a little tricky here, so just notice. Don't be afraid to tap your toes down, and don't be afraid to laugh and smile. We're just balancing. Unwind, unwrap, shake it on out, and then come back to the top of the mat. Arms stretch up, and we'll fold forward. Inhale for length, and then as you touch the earth, step back to high plank, lowering down to the ground. Elbows return underneath shoulders, and we'll play here maybe with a block in between your hands. You could kind of hold the block like making little L's or 7s with your hands, so that just gives a little stability while you're playing in dolphin. You might very well want to be against the wall for this. We're just playing. This is absolutely an offering, and maybe it's not appropriate for your body. So please, please, please listen to yourself here. So as you set yourself up, you're really thinking about pressing into the earth, and again, that idea of squeezing in toward midline. The block can help you there if you'd like. So we'll work up into that dolphin shape again, and then start to play. Maybe one leg lifts up, maybe you take a little hop or a little switch kick and see if that feels appropriate in your body. And just playing with lifting one leg and then the other, remember that the switch kick could happen really low, like you just hop your feet like an inch or two off of the ground. It does not need to be anything dramatic here. So be mindful of where your body's at. And then if you can catch balance, if a forearm balance, Pinchamayurasana is in your practice, you might start to play with lifting up and maybe, just maybe, wrapping your legs in that eagle bind. It's possible, right? We can maybe play there. It really helps, that idea of squeezing everything in toward midline, to really help to connect to the core here in that arm balance. So obviously not everybody is going to be playing with that forearm balance. Do not worry, it does not matter. And I guarantee being on your forearms and balancing does not make you a better yogi. Now, what you could do to get that inversion but not be on forearms is to lower onto your bottom, come all the way onto your back, and then take the block underneath your pelvis so that you're completely supported here, and then playing with eagle legs or even eagle arms while you're in that supported hip stand. So know that that's an option as well. So after playing with whatever we chose for an inversion, finding that forearm balance or the supported hip stand, we'll come all the way into a seat now. And then reach your arms all the way up overhead and twist, taking your left hand to your right knee, right arm back behind you, breathing and feeling that opening across your heart, that twisted drawing in sensation through the middle. Inhale, arms sweep up, then exhale, twist to the left, right hand, left knee, left hand helps support you. Finding the length through the spine and exploring how this side feels. Inhale, arms sweep up, and then release your hands back behind you. Go ahead and switch the cross of your ankles. Reach your right arm over to the right, left arm stretches up overhead. And then take the left hand over to the left, right arm will sweep up overhead, getting into your side body. Bringing your arms both up overhead, and then gently bring your feet together in Baddha Konasana, or bound angle, and walk yourself forward, bringing your torso over your legs, letting your breath soften here, and just release into this fold. On your next breath in, gently walk yourself up, and then finding your way into a seated meditation, allowing your body to drop in here, noticing the spaces that might feel fatigued, notice the spaces that might feel a little bit more open. Notice how your body feels now on the mat in your seat. Let your breath deepen. Feel integrity through your spine, and allow yourself to be in stillness. Watching where your mind goes, where the thoughts go. Can you watch your breath? Stay focused but relaxed, without too much effort, without judgment. Notice the you that is sitting here on your mat in this moment. What comes up in your mind? What is the quality of your thoughts? After physically turning in through this practice, take another few breaths, turning mentally inward. And when you're ready, bring your hands to heart. Bow forehead to fingertips in gratitude. I wish you abundant joy.